So happy to be joined by our good friend Brian Brinkley, joining us from Oklahoma City. First of all, Brian, Happy New Year to you and to your team over there. Hope you had a good holiday season. But we'll start with basketball because I'll tell you what, this is a really interesting time of year, blending what you do in the non-conference and then how that bleeds over into conference play. Coach Porter Moser and company got a really impressive win over Ole Miss, 86-70. What did you make of the SEC start for the Sooners on the men's side?
Yeah, it seems like Oklahoma's maybe starting to find what works for them. That was an impressive effort, and we saw them improve as the game went on. Ole Miss hit 9 threes in the first half. They only hit 1 in the second half. That was huge, and Oklahoma had several players step up. In a game where Nigel Pack did not make a 3, they win the game. Xavier Brown was really good. Muhammad Wagi has a double-double. That's an impressive win against Ole Miss and a good way to get SEC play started because, as we know, it's going to be a brutal stretch. And they go to Mississippi State next, and the Bulldogs had a nice win in Austin on Saturday.
Brian, you brought up Mo Wagi, and being a former West Virginia guy myself, he was there when I was in college. So I remember him as a guy that had this great potential, but he just was inconsistent at times. How big of a factor could he be for the Sooner team moving forward?
I think it's going to be a big factor. I mean, for the last 2 years, the story with him is, can he stay out of foul trouble? If he stays out of foul trouble, he's a major factor. He's just got to stay on the floor. And when he does that, he makes things happen for Oklahoma and does things that they need him to do. And that's a good way to get conference play started for him, a double-double there, 3 blocks, you see, against Ole Miss.
Yeah, it looks like he's certainly found a home there. Went from West Virginia, played at Alabama for a season, now a couple of years there in Norman, and a good start for him in SEC play. We got a chance to hear from Coach Moser on Mo Wagi.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this too. Sometimes the tape shows me something different. And all his fouls weren't undisciplined fouls last game. And we talked about it, and I don't want him to get not aggressive. It's just hard for the timing or some of those fouls. Like, he got one going in for the offensive rebound. That wasn't even called tonight because the bodies are so big. I go, I don't want you to not go for the offensive rebound. And he ended up getting a foul. He just barely put. So we had a couple fouls that tape showed me. But to answer your question, he's so valuable on the court. He played 28 minutes. Kai and Kirill are still building depth. This is their first SEC game. We're going to need them. But there was points where Mo was just so in tune to what was going on. 15 rebounds, 3 blocks, a steal, orchestrating a lot of defense. So he was really valuable, and we're just better when he's on the floor.
In addition to Wagi, Xavier Brown obviously had a huge game there as well with those 23 points. As you look to the leadership of this group, what did this first game in the SEC tell you about their potential as they move forward and get ready for their first road game in the league?
It looks like they're kind of learning about each other. The chemistry is starting to gel. At the start of the season, you could tell they were still trying to learn about each other and try to get that groove with each other. I think it's starting to finally start to meld together, and we saw them finish non-conference play pretty well. That's a good win to start off conference play. Brown's really starting to play well for Oklahoma, and I mean, like I said, I told you a few weeks ago, Pack's the only one that you really knew about what he could do, what he has done at the college level coming in at a high level. So some of these guys that are in their first year at Oklahoma now, I mean, look at those stats for Brown. That's impressive. He can do that every game. Oklahoma's going to win some games in the SEC.
Absolutely. First road game coming up this week. They're going to Mississippi State, I believe, there in the first road game in the SEC. They've done really well at home. How do you think, or what needs to travel as they head over to Oxford or to Starkville?
Well, I caught the most of the Mississippi State-Texas game this morning on replay. They better stop Josh Hubbard. That's that is priority number one. That guy is a player. I think Oklahoma is getting better defensively, and we saw what they did in the second half against Ole Miss. And OU's taken care of the ball pretty well, too, on the offensive side. They just had 7 turnovers against Ole Miss. And when you go on the road in the SEC, you better take care of the basketball. But Josh Hubbard, and especially Mississippi State's one of those teams at home. They are a couple of notches above where they are on the road, and they are coming off a nice win in Austin. So a tough one for Oklahoma in Starkville.
Yeah, flipping to the women's side, women beat Mississippi State and did so in dominating fashion, held up to 8 first quarter points on the way to a 95-47 win. This is a team that is the top 5 team in the country. Really strong SEC overall, but to be able to get that kind of win in league play, what did it say for the Sooners on the women's side?
Yeah, that was impressive to me. I mean, Mississippi State has a bunch of newcomers this year, so it was hard. But they went 14-1 in non-conference. Didn't play a real tough schedule, so it was hard to tell what kind of a team they had. But for Oklahoma to just dominate the game like that, in every quarter, they won every quarter. Had 6 players score in double figures. They had 3 double-doubles. That's the second time this year they've had 3 players double-doubles. Sahara Williams is on pace to get a triple-double, and then just couldn't close out in the assist category. But when they get going offensively, and they've been doing that here the last several weeks, they are difficult to stop, and they play so fast. You have got to get back. They score a bunch of fast break buckets after made baskets. So you cannot celebrate, oh, good, we made a basket. No, you better get back, because OU is going to push the ball up the floor on you.
Right, absolutely. We got a chance to hear from head coach Jenny Baranczyk on one of her big-time playmakers, Aaliyah Chavez.
Well, I think anytime that you can really manage an end of quarter, it always gives you great momentum going into a timeout. That's what you want, right? I thought she did a nice job, especially she was not on her A game today, obviously. And I think for her to be able to end the quarters that way, but she also put people in really good positions to do that. And they put her in really good positions. I think when we play like that, it's really hard to guard us. There's times that's really easy to guard us, and you can see those moments where we stand, or we've got, we go into some isolation plays a little too much. But when we play team basketball, and that's what we did at those end of quarters, and she put the ball in different people's hands, and there were different reads that were made, and then really good things tend to find you. It's always nice when the shot goes in, but even the execution is good, and when the execution isn't good, you got to figure out why the execution's not good.
Brian, I find it kind of funny because the men opened up against Ole Miss and are now playing Mississippi State, and then the women open up with Mississippi State and are now playing Ole Miss. And this is a matchup against Ole Miss, which they're a pretty good team here this year. What can we expect from the Lloyd Noble Center?
Yeah, Ole Miss is the team that OU's most familiar, well, other than Texas, obviously, having been in the Big 12 with them. But this will be the 4th straight year they've played Ole Miss. They played them in non-conference home and home the last 2 years of the Big 12, so this will be the 4th straight year they've played Ole Miss. And these are fascinating games. OU's won them all so far, but OU wants to play fast, and Yolette McPhee-McEwen wants to muck it up and keep it in the 60s if she can. They've done that in the 3 games, but Oklahoma's won them all. I know you had to rally last year in Oxford to win, but they're really fun games to watch because OU wants to play fast and Ole Miss doesn't want to. They want to get up in your face defensively and be methodical on offense. And Ole Miss, like the first 2 OU opponents, is almost totally different from a year ago. They have, I think, 9 newcomers, but they're still going to play the way Coach Yo wants them to play. And then Cody McMahon, she's a really good player, a nice addition for them. Almost got the game-tying 3 there against Texas on Sunday.
Right, absolutely. Some really impressive starts there for the men and the women for the Sooners. Brian, thank you so much for joining us here on Southeast Sports Plus.
Thank you.